Eugenics, eugenics, eugenics.
In the late 19th century, a British scientist named Sir Francis Galton coined the term eugenics for his idea that the human race could be fashioned by selective breeding between the people thought to have good genes. He chose this term because the prefix "eu," which comes from the Greek language, means good, and the suffix "genics" means birth. He preferred the idea of positive eugenics, encouraging the people with good genes to breed rather than discouraging the people with bad genes from breeding. The problem with this was that what good genes were was up to the discretion of the government or individual. Galton's cousin, Charles Darwin, was a supporter of eugenics and believed it was a necessity for the survival of the human race. In the United States, a scientist named Charles Davenport was an advocate for the idea of eugenics and campaigned to prevent those said to have lesser genes from reproducing, the opposite of the way Galton had intended it to be used. Eugenic sterilization spread across the United States as the original ideas of sterilizing defective people evolved to become national policies. The goal, to create a super white Nordic race and obliterate the viability of everyone else. How? By identifying so-called defective family trees and subjecting them to legislated segregation and sterilization programs. The victims were poor people, brown-haired white people, African Americans, immigrants, Indians, Eastern European Jews, the infirm, and really anyone classified outside the superior genetic lines drawn up by American raceologists. In all, about 60,000 people were deemed to have bad genes and thought to be inferior, were sterilized in the United States in hopes of preventing them from passing on the bad genes to future generations. The idea of sterilization spread from the United States to Canada, where certain groups of people that were said to be genetically inferior by the government were sterilized in order to prevent bad traits from being passed on to the next generation. Influenced by the eugenic sterilization movement happening in their neighboring country to the south, several provinces of Canada created a eugenics board and passed laws influenced by those passed in the United States. Ideas of eugenics and the sterilization of lower-class people and people of certain ethnicities in countries around the world were also adopted by Germany and are thought to have influenced the Nazis' regime during the devastation of the Holocaust. In 1934, Adolf Hitler, a German though originally from Austria, adopted and implemented a eugenic sterilization law. This law not only suggested and encouraged, but ordered the sterilization of many German citizens with physical or mental defects. Though it was just the beginning, it was harsher and stricter than any other sterilization movement had been, targeting a large number of people and ordering them to be sterilized. As said Edwin Black, in Germany the eugenics movement did not stop at simply preventing groups of people from reproducing. Ultimately, the idea of sterilization turned into the eradication and slaughter of disabled people, the Slavics, and ultimately the entire Jewish population in Germany, Austria, and Poland.
This is a brief summary of the pros, cons, and science of modern eugenics. First, the pros. A major pro is healthier people. We can use modern eugenics to perfect people's genotype to give them stronger bones, stronger muscles, and extend their lifespans. Another pro is curing diseases. We can fix mistakes in people's genotype to eliminate hereditary diseases. We can also change their genotype to reduce their ability to contract other types of diseases. These changes are permanent in most cases and will be carried on through their children. Now the cons. The major con that is heavily debated is the morality of it. Many people think that it is morally wrong to change someone's genotype. Another con is that this is only theoretical. Most of the things that modern eugenics envelops is theoretical and has not actually been used in real practice yet. Another con is, in some cases, it would be bad to eliminate diseases, such as in Africa, sickle cell disease prevents them from dying from malaria. Now the science. Gene therapy is the main way of using modern eugenics. Gene therapy is insertion, alteration, or removal of bad genes. Another way of using modern eugenics is called gene doping. It's a spin-off of gene therapy, and it builds stronger muscles. One form of it is somatic cell modification. This doesn't go onto their children and is not technically considered eugenics, but germline modification does go onto their children, thus it is modern eugenics.